How you doing, guys? This is my Velocity Pro Wrestling Bad Santa review. Thing on the front says Old School versus New Breed, Jerry Lynn versus Elijah Burke is the main event. This, I believe, was a highly hyped show. As on the Figure 4 forums, there was an account called Video One, but it didn't have the RF on it, but that's what we knew it stood for. Hyping the show, saying, you know, the whole landscape of wrestling was going to change, and then they announced this show, and I mean, basically, it just looks like a kind of, you know, ROH-esque show. And I believe Rob Feinstein became no longer involved not long after it, or the deal was cut off. I got this by mistake, so I didn't actually purchase this. I got it by mistake from Smart Mark, but you know, I was told to keep it. And yes, first thing I'll say is I couldn't understand anything that was said on the mic except for when Elijah Burke was on, and maybe a bit of Jerry Lynn. And any other time it was just, and this is in the New Alhambra, and usually the PA is good and you can understand. There was like 3 dozen people there, or I don't know, maybe about 100 if you're lucky. Started off with the Best Round Challenge, which is a tag team, which had Rob Echoes and Billy Bax versus the Logan Brothers. This is a nice opener. High-paced action, nothing really too terrible about it. I'll probably give it 2.5 stars, as it was a lot of fun and did get me into the show. Next match we had up was Claudio Castagnoli versus Hollow Wicked. This is pretty much the same type of match you'd see along, you know, the line, you know, at a Chikara show. It only went for about, it went for about 10 minutes. It was a lot of fun. Claudio Castagnoli was playing heel. They worked over, Hollow Wicked worked over Castagnoli's arm. Castagnoli got, you know, a lot of heat for something he did, throwing, oh yeah, that's right, they thought he was going to get a chair and he put it down. Everyone was like, boo, because they wanted to see Hollow Wicked get his skull caved in with the chair, obviously, even though, you know, his face. But whatever, that was fine. Also 2.5 stars, 2 3/4. Next match we had Azrael versus Jose Maximo and Joel Maximo, or otherwise known as SAT, but it was a triple threat match. All 3 guys having been in ROH previously. Azrael's supposed to be one of the top guys. There was something said before the match which made it a triple threat match. I don't understand what it was, but the match itself was quite decent. Basically, the story was Azrael was, you know, initially getting double teamed, and then the tag team turned on each other and they got angry with each other. Blah blah blah. Good high flying action, a bit spotty. Also 2 3/4 stars. Next match we had Sterling James Keenan versus Josh Daniels. They both the guy on commentary, who was pretty average, I guess it's because he was the only guy on commentary. When there was other people, he wasn't so bad. He hyped them up both pretty well. Not much I really remember. There was nothing that really stood out to me in this match. Sterling James Keenan won the match. I'd probably give it 2 1/4. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it, but there was really nothing terribly exciting, and the crowd really wasn't that into it. But as I said, there was nothing wrong with it. It was a fine match. I mean, it wasn't unbearable. It was just a bit slow and a bit bland for my taste. But you know, some people like that. And I can't remember any specific storytelling elements to it. So, except, you know, Josh Daniels was a small guy who seemed quite angry, and Sterling James Keenan was face. So yeah, 2 1/4 for that. Next we had Sugarfoot Alex Payne and Bobby Dempsey versus Nigeria Nightmares versus Chris Anza and Phil Boucher. I think that's how it's pronounced or something. Basically what it had was Chris Anza and Phil Boucher, I'll just call him that because I'm lazy, we're working over Sugarfoot Alex Payne and Bobby Dempsey after they surprised them at the start. Then the Nigeria Nightmares came in, so it was a 3-way tag match. Basically Chris Anza and Phil Boucher worked over Sugarfoot Alex Payne, but then he tagged in one of the Nigeria Nightmares, and the Nigeria Nightmares in like 2 minutes just destroyed them with this leg drop thing over the top rope. And these are 2 big, you know, 2 big guys. And then another one was one suplex the other on top of, I think it was Chris Anza, and like I thought, initial thought was just dead. There's no way that guy could have lived from that. He crushed his fucking rib cage. The guy's dead. But yeah, that was a fine tag match. 4.5 stars because Sugarfoot Alex Payne and Bobby Dempsey really didn't do anything other than get worked over and then tag into Nigerian Nightmare. So I don't understand why it wasn't, you know, a Chris Anthony Phil Boucher versus Nigerian Nightmares to begin with, and have 2 less people to pay. Next up match, we had a Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tournament match between John Walters, Javier, what's they call him, Bobby Fish, and Jay Briscoe. This match was actually quite good, probably the best match on the card. Surprisingly, Jay Briscoe got eliminated second after Javier or whatever you want to call him. Lots of high-paced action, it flowed really well, and it was just non-stop action as you'd expect from a Fatal 4-Way match. It wasn't really any big storytelling except that, you know, Bobby Fish and John Walters were doing a lot of good technical wrestling. The fans really were only interested in Jay Briscoe. As you could tell, they said, we want Jay Briscoe, I think, or we want Briscoe or whatever. Some guy yelled out at Javier, I fucking hate you, so that's one of the things I can remember from the match. But other than that, it was quite good. 3.5 stars. Next match we had was Christian York versus the Amazing Red, in one of the Amazing Red's return matches. This match was fine. Christian York got a lot of heat. Amazing Red, the crowd started a bit slow, but he got got the people behind him. He didn't do as much high-flying stuff as I'd expect. He's obviously toned his style down a bit, and or it's that he hasn't, because he's a bit, rusty. He's just not going fully into it. But he was still very good at what he did, which was, a slower type of match, and where there was greater crowd interaction. And that he didn't botch anything. Neither of them botched anything. I think there was maybe, but the problem was a lot of the time, for some of the match, the crowd was pretty dead. But it was a fine match. I'd give it 3 stars. Then we had Old School versus New Breed, Jerry Lynn versus Elijah Burke. This match was pretty good. Had good storytelling, as you'd expect from Jerry Lynn, keeping Elijah Burke on the mat, wrestling a decent match, and then Elijah Burke went to walk out, and Jerry Lynn said, "Let's do this ECW rule style," and then turned to a hardcore match basically. And but there wasn't many weapons used. Jerry Lynn just beat him up through the crowd, threw him through some chairs, put him back in the ring. Elijah Burke ended up getting the pin and getting the heat. But and what made me kind of think about something. I just wanted to rant. I'll give the show. The match I'll give a 3.5 out of 5. It was a good main event. I'm sure Jerry Lynn shit himself. He doesn't know what he's talking about, like he does with everyone else. Whenever they critique things. But I think it was a good match. I give the show a 7 out of 10. It was fine. It wasn't the best thing I've seen, but 7 out of 10. As it was a pretty short event, and it was pretty easy to just cut through, even though there was nothing really over 3.5 stars. It doesn't really matter because the show flowed pretty well. But it really made me think about something, and that was having Jerry Lynn versus Elijah Burke, having an Old School versus New Breed thing in 2008. I mean, if this is what Elijah Burke is relegated to after being future endeavoured by the WWE, then that's pretty fucking sad, because and this is December 2008, and the thing is, ECW's been dead since 2001. Wow, what's that? Just let it fucking be dead, and I don't. What the fuck is that? ECW's pretty much just been dead since 2001. I don't. Even when everyone thought it was coming back in like 2005 and 2006 with the reunion shows, it was really just maggots in the corpse making everyone think it was still alive, twitching or something. But it was dead, and it's the fact that you have, in 2008 you have a feud based off Old School versus New Breed, which is an angle WWE did in 2007, and over a company that died in 2001 is quite distressing. And this was supposed to be, according to Video One, a user on the Figure 4 forums and many other places, this was supposed to be a promotion and a show which was supposed to change the wrestling landscape forever. And the whole premise of it is feuding over something in the past that was about something that was feuding about something, an angle from the past that was about a promotion that has been dead for 5 or 6 years. I just don't get it. Sometimes promoters and wrestlers have bigger marks than the wrestlers themselves, I guess.